Thank you, everybody, for joining us back here at electroCore's channel. We're sitting here once again with the co-founder and chief medical officer at electroCore, Dr. Peter Stotts. Peter, how are you doing today?
Mike, I'm doing great. Thank you for having me again.
Yeah, very glad to have you back on. And you guys recently reported on an animal model for traumatic brain injury, or TBI. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, no, this is really important, Michael. As I've said before, I look at gamma-core and electroCore as being a platform therapy for how the vagus nerve can impact disease. And this is a really important line of sight on how impactful vagus nerve stimulation, particularly non-invasive cervical vagus nerve stimulation, can be on treating traumatic brain injury. There are about 2.5 million people every year who have a traumatic brain injury. Of that, there's somewhere between 220,000 and 280,000 people who are hospitalized, and 52 to 64,000 people die from the traumatic brain injury. It costs the American people $56 billion. And unfortunately, we don't have a good strategy to try to mitigate the effects of a traumatic brain injury. Numerous drugs have been tried. But over the last 15 or so years, there have been pretty strong signals that vagus nerve stimulation can potentially alter the course of the traumatic brain injury. This animal model that was just done really demonstrated quite nicely that we can alter the size of the injury that occurs over a 1-day and 7-day period, and also modify and mitigate the effects of the injury on anxiety and motor behaviors and those types of activities that are really significantly injured following a traumatic brain injury.
Wow. I mean, if someone hasn't been exposed to brain injuries, I would consider yourself lucky. They are something that is very difficult to deal with. As you said, not a great prognosis later through life, as it takes a lot of time and a lot of rehab, and a lot of things we've tried haven't worked. So this could be a really good breakthrough, doctor. So what do you think will happen next from here?
Well, look, I think we have to do some additional work here, obviously, but this is following the pattern that we've been setting out to do with electroCore. We've done animal work in acute treatment of stroke, and then followed up with our first clinical trial demonstrating that we can mitigate the effects of a large stroke in a human clinical trial. Here we've demonstrated in an animal model, our colleagues, Dr. Devani has actually demonstrated in an animal model that we can decrease the size of a traumatic brain injury and the impact of a traumatic brain injury with high-dose vagus nerve stimulation. Now, this leads to the question, can we do the same thing if we catch it early enough in an acute clinical trial, in acute treatment of patients with a traumatic brain injury?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. It sounds like it's very promising so far. Obviously, more studies need to be done over time, but thank you for coming on and sharing your insight on this. Anything else been going on with electroCore you want to share here today, doctor?
Well, we have continued progress looking at opioid use disorder. We have continued progress in post-traumatic stress disorder. We are really facing some exciting times with vagus nerve stimulation as being one of the main treatment strategies for a variety of evolving diseases.
Wonderful. Well, doctor, thank you again for coming on. Thank you, everybody, for watching. If you have any questions about TBIs or anything else, don't be afraid to reach out. We will happily answer them, and stay tuned for more coming soon. And Dr. Peter, please have a wonderful day.
Thanks, Mike.